In today's video, we are making cotton candy, but not the usual one. We're gonna make a cotton candy machine so simple, even cavemen could do it. We will walk through the process of finding the tools, how we made it, and well, a little accident, a pretty serious one. It took us a while to recover, but we eventually figured out how to get the machine working, and as usual, we will break down the science behind cotton candy and its Asian machine. But for that, hello everyone, I'm Phil.
And I'm Sophia.
Welcome back to Easy Foodsy. You might not believe, but cotton candy is basically just sugar. So, how do we take this boring sugar into a fluffy cloud of deliciousness? The answer is centrifugal force and temperature. As for the science behind it, we will review it later. So stay tuned. Let's be real, trying to build an automatic heat machine without modern gadget is like making a smartphone out of blocks. So, we are going the old way, cooking it on the stove, and focusing on creating that centrifugal force only. With that in mind, here is the criteria for our caveman cotton candy machine. First, can be made from cheap, easy to find stuff, so simple that even a caveman could build it. And the second is, of course, create enough centrifugal force. Ensure efficiency. You don't want to be out with just making one cotton candy, right? And finally, safety first. Seriously, you don't want to mess with hot sugar. How do I know? Let's just say I have learned the hard way. So remember, safety first, sugar second. So, with our criteria in hand, we start our journey to make this cotton candy dream come true. We start searching for information online, and within seconds, thousands of results pops up, and our task was to read all of them. Among the mountain of information, we found one of the simplest methods, which could be considered the original version of cotton candy, spun sugar. With this method, all you have to do is dip a fork in the melted sugar and spread it back and forth. So easy enough, right? But when we compare it to a criteria, it's super time consuming. Your kitchen will look like a sugar bomb went up, so we can say it's not efficiency at all. And let's not even start on safety. Melted sugar flying everywhere is a recipe for disaster. But hey, I will give it one thing. It's definitely easy if you don't mind the sticky chaos. Well, things start getting trickier when most of what we found next was just older version of spun sugar. Ideas that involve using modern tools like reels, blender, or other electric gadgets that really fit our caveman-friendly criteria. When we thought we hit a dead end, we randomly came across a clip on how to start a fire. Suddenly, an idea sparked. Friction fire lighting technique combine friction, rotational motion to create the centrifugal force we need. Therefore, we start searching prehistoric fire starting tool. The first tool we found was a hand wheel, which is one of the simplest friction methods because it only needs a stick and a fireboard. All you need to do is use the palm of your hand to spin a spindle on the fireboard at high speed. Sounds simple enough, huh? But when we put this up, again a criteria. Well, I don't think my hands are thick enough to make even one cotton candy. First, it's pretty hard to keep the reel straight to avoid spilling hot sugar and generate enough centrifugal force, so the hand wheel is out. The second tool we found was a bow reel. A bow reel consists of an arch bow with a string wrapped around a spindle attached to a flat piece of wood. Your tag is sold back and forth while using the top rock to hold the reel down. When we compare to a criteria, the bow reel has a big advantage over the hand reel. With the bow help, the spindle can spin faster and more stable than the hand reel, so we might actually create enough centrifugal force for the cotton candy. However, you have to constantly press down on the top rock to keep the spindle steady. It slows the rotation speed and reduces the centrifugal force we need. You might think, what if we get rid of the top rock? Unfortunately, the spindle will shake and hot sugar could fly everywhere. So to sum up, the bow reel is out. And finally, Asian lady loves mayonnaise, whom we have been searching for all this time has appeared, the pump reel. To save us some time, we will talk about how it works in later part. For now, let's focus on the important stuff, why the pump reel is the chosen one. First up, since the pump reel converts vertical motion into rotational motion, which I find way easier than the horizontal motion of bow reel, because you know, I'm way more used to moving my hands up and down like this. Plus, it has a flywheel strong momentum, which means it might just generate the biggest centrifugal force while saving us the most effort. And because we are applying force vertically, the spindle stays nice and stable, which avoids getting burned by hot sugar flying everywhere. So, we can conclude that the pump reel could be the perfect puzzle piece to our cotton candy machine.
Finding the right tool was a real adventure. Can you remind me again why we're doing this instead of just wrapping a cotton candy from the start?
Don't you remember what our great
20 minutes later.
great ancestor used to say?
Bing bong jing jong ling long.
What was that?
Well, our ancestor lived a long time ago, maybe at Stone Age, and you expect to understand him. But you can totally hear some Asian accent there, right? I guess I mean we should definitely make this ourselves.
That somehow makes sense.
Okay, Let's prepare some ingredients and make our ancestor proud. So, as we mentioned before, here's what we need for our pump drill.
To make this part, we need a long round piece of wood for the spindle, 2 flat pieces of wood, one 50 cm long and the other 70 cm long for the crossbar and the flywheel, a small piece of wood for the fireboard, and a thick rope about 1 meter long.
And to stick to our caveman concept, we will only using non-electric tools that a caveman might have had.
Really? I didn't think our survival skill were that good.
But don't worry, this time we're gonna make it just like survival instinct.
Okay. And here's the blueprint for the ultimate cotton candy machine caveman version.
By pushing down the crossbar after the thread is all wound up, we are putting tension on both sides of the thread, which make the spindle spin. The spindle is accelerate and the increasing kinetic energy is stored into the flywheel until the crossbar reaches the lowest position. And this time, the thread is fully unwound. After that, the thread is rewound by the remaining kinetic energy until the crossbar reaches the highest position and the rotation ends. The next push get the whole thing spinning again, just in the opposite direction. And to make the machine available to create cotton candy, we will attack a container with the spindle to hold the hot sugar. When the spindle spins, the container spins too, creating centrifugal force that turn our sugar into cotton candy thread. That's a theory anyway. Let's see if it actually works.
First up, we'll make the spindle. We have a long round piece of wood, about 1 meter in length. You can use any type of wood you like, as long as it's sturdy and straight.
What we need to do is sharpen one end of the stick so it looks like a blunt pencil, or the tips of a pool cue. This will help it spin faster and smoother.
Next, we need to carve a small groove so we can put the rope in.
Looks like survival instinct is kicking. This is gonna be easy.
Now onto the crossbar, we need to drill a big hole in the middle so the crossbar can slide up and down the spindle, and 2 smaller holes at the ends for tying the thread.
Easy peasy. Well, look like this knife wasn't up for the job. I just need to switch to another one. No one survival instinct gonna beaten by just a piece of wood like this.
Look like the only thing getting real is your confidence, huh? As you can see, our survival skills are less that real than we thought, or to be honest, maybe not exist. So we are calling it some modern half. That is real. But don't worry, you can totally do it by hand if you got a skill. So basically, we're not breaking any rules, or maybe a little.
Well, I think my way can still do it, just take a little longer time, okay? Once you got the hole just right, tie the thread to both ends of the crossbar and put it in the groove you carved earlier.
Now, let's move on to the fireboard. Grab a small piece of wood and make a hole just big enough for the spindle to fit into. And yes, we are using the drill again.
And finally is a flywheel. Normally the flywheel is round, but you can totally make it in a plus side or even a normal piece of wood like us. Anything that is symmetrical and heavy enough to be the necessary angular momentum will be okay. And the piece of wood we are having here is about 240 grams. All we have to do is to drill a hole in the middle for it to fit perfectly with the spindle.
And now we are all set to operate this pump drill.
To make cotton candy, we will need a container to hold the hot sugar. So this container needs to be heat resistant. Here are some natural ingredients you could use like a coconut shell, the bone, the wood. But since we don't have anything like that around, we're gonna just use these soda can instead.
All we need to do is drill a tiny holes in the container so the liquid sugar can go through and turn into the fine threads thanks to the centrifugal force.
Remember, the cotton candy thread is only about 0.5 millimeter thick, half the width of a human hair, so we aim for the smallest hole we can manage.
Now we will attach it to the bottom of the pump drill.
For the final part, the sugar catcher. Since the cotton candy is basically sugar thread that comes from the container at high speed, we will need something to keep the sugar thread from flying away.
So we should have made this from stick and leaf to stick with the caveman team. But to make sure you guys can see what happened during our experiment, we will use the clear aeroplane instead. But you can use cardboard or anything clean. So with all the ingredients ready, Phil, wanna do the honor?
You know me. Avengers Assemble! Now, we will give it a test run, okay? Okay, that looks smooth enough. Before we see if this machine can actually work, let's check out the science behind cotton candy. Hold up. Let me change to something more prehistoric. There we go. Now we are ready. As we mentioned before, two elements to make cotton candy are centrifugal force and temperature. Here, how it works. When you put sugar into the cotton candy machine, it is melted into the sticky liquid sugar, and then the container spins at a crazy speed, about 3,600 times per minute, and that's when the centrifugal force steps in to work its magic. You can think of it as the invisible hand that pushes things away from the center of the circular path. But here's a weird part. Centrifugal force is not a real force, it is more like a fictional one. Science could be really crazy. So to save us some time, and I don't think it's possible to explain this in a few minutes, so we will end it here and you can Google it by yourself. Believe me, it's gonna be mind-blowing. But for now, we will still use centrifugal force to explain it, and it is still a useful, easy peasy concept for explaining and predicting the behavior of objects in rotational motion. In the case of a cotton candy machine, this force makes the liquid sugar go through tiny holes, stretching it out into those fluffy strands. This strand then freeze into magical thread as soon as they meet the cool air. Then, you just gather up those sugar threads, give them a little twist, and voila! Cotton candy is on sale.
Alright, let's get that sugar ready. First, mix the sugar and water in a 2:1 ratio. Now stir it to avoid crystallize at the edge. Next, cook the mixture on a very low heat. Keep an eye on the edge of the pot. It should take about 8 minutes for 100 grams of sugar and 30 grams of water. Once the mixture thickens a bit and turn a light brown, turn off the heat. It's pretty simple, huh? Now, just put the hot sugar into the container, spin up the pump wheel, and cross our finger that the cotton candy will appear.
So don't forget to wear protection, okay? So now we got the hot sugar. Let's do it. It's alive! No, I mean, it's working. You can see it clearly. We did it! Cotton candy versus caveman. Now, let's give it a taste, shall we?
That's it.
So, for the taste, this cotton candy tastes just like cotton candy. I mean, that's just simply sweet flavor you could expect from any cotton candy, the classic one, okay?
And for the look, you can judge this by yourself. You see, yeah, we're making the most classic one, but you can add in any color you like, okay?
About the texture, our cotton candy strand is a little bit bigger than normal. So when you take a bite, you will feel a little bit harder.
And I think we can fix it by making the smaller holes and also speed up the spinning process. And I think it's enough for the caveman, right?
So to sum up, we believe that our caveman cotton candy machine worth a try to make with your friend and family at home, okay? And it's gonna be a super fun experiment with all of you guys. This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, you can support us by hitting that subscribe button and giving us a thumbs up. That would mean a lot to us.
You can also drop us a comment letting us know what dish you want us to recreate next.
And we are
Easy Foodsy.
See you in the next video. Wanna grab some more cotton candy?
So good.